Thanks, Kristen. Good evening, everyone. Welcome, council, staff, our delegates, and residents to the regular council meeting for Tuesday, July the 15th, 2025, and we are being streamed live. So I will call the meeting to order at 6:30 with the land acknowledgement. We are meeting today on the traditional territory of many nations, including the Huron-Wendat, Anishinaabe, and the Haudenosaunee peoples. We acknowledge our shared obligation to respect, honor, and sustain these lands and the natural resources contained within. We honor their cultures and celebrate their commitment to this land. We would also like to acknowledge the Mohawk and Algonquin nations whose traditional and unceded territory we are gathered upon today. Hastings County is situated on treaty land that is steeped in rich Indigenous history and home to many First Nations, Métis, and Inuit people. First item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. And the recommendation is that the agenda for the regular meeting of the Council of the Municipality of Marmorn Lake for Tuesday, July 15th, 2025 be approved as presented. I have a mover and a seconder. Ron, secondly. Any questions or comments on the agenda? All in favor? That's carried. Is there any declaration of pecuniary interest? Go ahead, Eric.
I would like to declare conflict of interest with agenda item 15.1, item 3, a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board regarding industrial land. The reason being, I am the owner of property in the industrial park.
Thank you, Eric. Duly noted. Next on the agenda is the mayor's report, and it's a long one because it's been a while. June the 17th, I presided over the Marmorn Lake regular council meeting, and I also attended the Hastings County Planning and Development and Finance Property and Personnel Committee meetings on that date. I also participated that afternoon in a doctor recruitment meeting at Center Hastings. June the 18th to the 20th, representing the Southeast Health Unit, I traveled to Toronto to attend the Alpha Conference and AGM. Alpha is the Association of Local Public Health Agencies. Topics were Ontario Health and Public Health Ontario, working in partnership with local public health and engagement with Indigenous communities, navigating Ontario's political landscape in challenging times, an update from the Chief Medical Officer of Health. June the 23rd, I chaired the cemetery board meeting for the Common Cemetery, and there's a report in today's agenda. At 2 o'clock that day, I participated in a personnel committee meeting here in the office. At 6 o'clock, I attended the Heart of Hastings Hospice AGM. Hospice provides such a valuable service within our medical community, and I just want to thank the executive management and volunteers for their service, and thank you to all donors. June the 24th, I attended the Southeast Health Unit Finance Committee meeting in Kingston. June the 25th, I chaired the regular meeting of the Southeast Health Unit in Kingston. June the 26th, I attended the regular Hastings County Council meeting, and at 2 o'clock that day, I participated in an interview meeting to acquire the services of a team building consultant for the Southeast Health Unit. June the 27th, CAO John and I met with developers at the former public school property. July the 1st, I participated in the Canada Day Parade organized by the Crow Valley Lions Club. Thank you to the Lions and all participants in the parade. A special thank you to the Marmorn Lake Fire Department and the Transportation Department and Parks and Recreation for their participation in the event. I was honored on behalf of Marmorn Lake Council to present the Senior of the Year Award to Cynthia Reed at the park after the parade. Congratulations, Cynthia, for a successful parade and for your contributions to the Lions Club and also to this community. July the 2nd, I was honored to attend the unveiling of a commissioned piece of art at the Board of Health office in Kingston. Judy Montgomery was the artist, and the piece of art is beautiful and welcoming in the entrance. July the 8th, I attended the Southeast Health Unit Governance Committee meeting in Kingston. And July the 9th, I attended a meeting with Jewel to discuss the installation of EV charging stations in the parking lot behind the stores on the west side of Forsyth Street. There will be 3 stations, They propose construction will start in about 2 weeks and will be functioning in approximately 4 to 6 weeks. July the 10th, I attended the office to sign documents and meet with the CAO and staff. And on July 12th, I attended the Crow Lake Waterway Association meeting and AGM at the Curling Club. Thank you. First, our first delegation, we have Justin Harold, the Director of Planning and Development for Hastings County, and it's regarding the new SPARK program and planning service agreement. So welcome, Justin.
Thank you. It's nice to be here. It's been a little while, I think, since I've had the chance to sit here. I think last time we were all facing the other way. But yeah, it'll be a new experience for me, I guess. Can everybody hear me okay? Oh, it's,
Yes.
as Jane can attest,
You do have to talk.
I'm a quiet speaker, so we'll see if I can. There we go. Now I can hear myself. So I'm here today just to talk about our SPARK program. Many of you will probably remember being back in El Dorado, I think around 2020, maybe a little bit even before that. In the fall, we sat down together, all the member municipalities, the councils, and we started talking about service delivery review, specifically around planning and trying to look at different ways of being more efficient in creating a better service for our development community, as well as the public and for our municipalities in general. And since that time, we've moved forward quite a bit. And I'm happy to be here today to start talking about how we can implement that and working with municipalities to move forward on this plan. So to date, we have approximately, I've been through many municipalities already, sorry. So to date, we have about 6 municipalities that are signed on now with the SPARK program. And I expect by probably before the end of August, we'll have 11 of our 14 municipalities signed on, and a couple more that we haven't had a chance to speak to yet and talk to about this as well. And we'll work on that moving through August, and hopefully we'll have, in a perfect world, everybody will be involved by the end of August. So we'll keep working on that. But I thought today, just to do a little bit of background for everybody. I know it's been a while, but it's been quite a while since I've actually come and talked about the service delivery to, I don't think I've actually been to council here to talk about it yet, just at county council. But I thought I'd give you a bit of the background and how we got, why we're looking at these changes and kind of how we've gotten to things today. So I'll try and do that relatively succinctly. I know there's a lot of information put in there in your agenda packages as well. So I'll try to skip over some of the stuff and kind of keep to the pertinent stuff for you folks. But if you do have questions, feel free to interrupt me at any point, and we can talk about or answer your questions for you. So just going to the just a little bit of the background of why we started looking at this. Back when I first started with the county, we didn't provide a lot of services to our member municipalities. We really stuck to just what we're legislatively required to do. And we noticed that there's a bit of a gap in for the municipalities in trying to understand some of the planning stuff, the planning processes, and some of the planning knowledge there. So over the years, kind of on an ad hoc basis, where municipalities needed help with things, we started trying to take on some of those services. Someone needed help preparing zoning bylaws or figuring out how to provide a proper public notice. We were providing those things. But we didn't do any formal sort of agreements. We didn't keep track of those things because at the time, we didn't need to. Our workloads were manageable. We were able to manage these things kind of without trying to create formality to that. And it worked well for everybody. Skipping forward to 2021, some, part of COVID, things changed quite a bit in the planning world. So we started to see application numbers increasing dramatically, and I'll skip to, do we have the presentation ready to go? Can we pop that up? I'll share a chart with you in just 2 seconds, just in terms of how those applications have increased. But the bigger issue is the backdrop of the planning is we're seeing a number of different changes. So number one is the number of changes to the legislation at a provincial level has been increasing dramatically. I'm a little bit dated. I have on here, but I'm just noting since 2019, there's been 9 new bills. I think since I drafted this about a year ago, I think it's probably 12 now, maybe 13 new pieces of legislation that have come in. a number of regulations that go with that, and a new provincial planning statement as well. So things are changing dramatically and constantly at the provincial level. That's a challenge for myself and other planners to keep just up with those changes alone, to ask municipalities and their staff to try and keep up with those changes on top of all the other work they have to do is not really realistic. So we're starting to, it's a full-time job just to keep up with the legislative changes. Good old technology. Okay. That's okay. No worries. So I just mentioned we're seeing a lot of increase in workload as well. So not only at the county level are we seeing huge increases, but we're also seeing huge increases at the municipal level as well. So just to give you an example of that, we did do a little bit of a background looking at the number of applications that municipalities have received over the last since 2016 to 2023 are our numbers. So we're talking about zoning bylaw amendments, variances, and site plans. So those are all applications that you folks see on a regular basis and approve. So when we first looked at this in 2016, throughout the county, we were seeing around 48, maybe 50 applications. Around 2020, we were seeing around 131 applications. Then 2021 hit and we had a huge jump to 219. So almost 100% increase in the application. Oh, perfect. Great. Thanks, guys. And then of course you see up in 2023, those numbers are at 263. So you can see the huge increases that your staff as well as ourselves are seeing in terms of just planning applications coming in. That just adds to the pressure on our municipal staff as well as county staff to manage those workloads, and that's not an easy task. So, especially when you're trying to work on 14 municipalities trying to do things just slightly differently everywhere else. So it's hard to manage those things. And you can start to see where things potentially start to get missed or get delayed as we try and manage that. So again, that's another one of those challenges that we're seeing. And I think just the other piece that I wanted to speak to is just the increasing complexity as we see those changes to provincial policy, as we see changes to other legislation. The complexity of planning applications are far more complex than we've seen in the past, where we've been able to get away with, generally small planning comments or minimal kind of changes. We see now that there's a number of different things to consider and look at. And those things are increasingly becoming even more difficult as we move forward. So that's the background we're seeing. Those increased applications, the complexity, the constant changes, all are putting a lot of pressure on municipal staff as well as county staff when we talk about these things. And that's really led to that meeting in September that I mentioned in El Dorado, where we wanted to look at better ways to provide that service so that we're providing it efficiently from a time perspective, but also in a cost-effective way. So that we can provide that service to the county. The one other piece I just wanted to mention, I know you folks are familiar with this, dealing with it every day, but I think for the benefit of any folks online or for the public too, just a little bit about the two-tier system and how planning works from that perspective. So the county is responsible for approval of official plans, the amendments to those official plans, plans of subdivision and condominium, as well as severances. And we had one of those severances earlier today to talk about. So those are the things that the county is legislatively required to do. Those are things that county makes decisions on. We have to process those applications and we're obligated to do that. Where we make a little bit of the distinction is that we're looking at, we provide some additional services, as I mentioned earlier, to county to help provide planning reports to municipalities, we'll prepare zoning bylaws for them as well. Those are all services that we've been providing because we can for the municipalities and where they can't do it for themselves. So I just wanted to make that distinction that the county is only responsible for those core services that I just mentioned. So the official plan amendments, subdivisions, and consents. And then looking at from the member municipal member municipal view, we're looking at zoning bylaw amendments, minor variances, site plans, and a number of other less common applications that you folks are responsible for. And again, we help provide some of that service. What part of we're talking about today is looking at helping provide those additional services. So those ones not that you folks are legislatively required for. We're looking to help ease the burden on your municipal staff by trying to take on some of that workload for your folks so that they're free to work on some of the things that they're hired to do and have to do that sometimes get put by the wayside as they try to manage some of these development files that keep coming at them. So what is the Spark vision? It's really just a one-stop shop for the public to access planning services. So when I talk about when I talk about the public, I mean, not just the development community, but the public in general. So if somebody has a planning question or is looking to do some sort of development on their property, they can come to one place. They don't have to go to the municipality and then to the county and then back to the municipality. It's really trying to provide a one-stop shop to avoid some of that, some of the delay, some of the confusion, and trying to create an easier process for those municipalities. I think one thing I do want to point out, and I think is pretty key, we heard this quite a bit as we did our consultations with municipalities and with staff, and that's looking at maintaining autonomy for member municipalities. So I just want to be clear. If you do participate in the Spark program, all the decision-making around those development applications still rests at this table. The county is really looking at just taking on the administrative piece and the information piece for you folks. So we are really just looking at making sure we get the process done quickly and efficiently and providing the best information to you folks so that you folks make the decisions at the end of the day. So if you do sign on with Spark, that's not going to change. You'll still be making all the decisions around the variances, the zoning, those site plans. We'll just be able to help manage that process and move that on a little bit quicker and provide those planning reports from our perspective as well. All this just leads to, again, just being more efficient in terms of our time, just by reducing duplication. We're not going back and forth between the municipality and the county. We're not both chasing down information at the same time that we don't need to do. And it's also going to be in the long run a cheaper or a more cost efficient, I shouldn't say cheaper, but a more cost efficient way of managing planning as we move forward. I think the final thing is really just looking at the capacity. So we talked again about, and this is probably one of the more important pieces to remember, the capacity to deal with planning in municipalities. As we've been historic in the past, we've had wonderful staff at the municipal and member municipal level that have been able to view the planning information. They've had a lot of knowledge. They've done it for a number of years. The challenge is once they move on to something else, or once they retire, or they find another job, you lose that knowledge, and it's a difficult process to hire a planner these days, and one with experience as well. So it is a huge challenge for municipalities to not only recruit folks, but there's also a time lag between that as well. So if you're hiring for 3 to 6 months, trying to find the staff, it's 3 to 6 months that planning isn't getting done quickly or efficiently at the member municipal level. The benefit of the Spark program is we do have some redundancy built in and some capacity. We've got currently right now, we do have 4 planners on staff. So if somebody's on vacation or if somebody does retire and move on, we still have staff to take up that slack and move that forward. So we don't have those delays, which is certainly a benefit as we continue to move forward and with planning. We'll just jump through that one. So I won't run through again the whole new model of the Spark plan. I'll just highlight again the local autonomy piece. Decision-making stays with the municipality. We're really, the best way I can phrase it is if you do join the Spark plan, the county's planning department becomes Marmorant Lakes planning department. We would work with your staff, we would work with yourselves to make sure that happens. And we would really just be providing that planning advice to the council. Again, we'll be working on that streamlined experience, not having to jump between 2 different levels of municipal work. We'll have a more consistent service delivery. Again, increased capacity. The other two highlights, and this is probably more of a change that you'll see, we are looking at, as part of this program, establishing 2 satellite offices throughout the county. The first will be in Madoc Township. The second in Bancroft at the Hastings professional building attached to the Hastings Manor there. They'll be staffed by a professional planner 5 days a week during business hours, so that there's some additional I think we're recognizing if we're taking over some of these function for municipalities that we're going to have a presence in those areas or closer to those areas. So we want to make sure that folks that are in Bancroft or in Marmora don't have to drive all the way down to Belleville if they want to see somebody in person. Certainly we'll leverage technology as much as we can. We'll still be looking at, we'll still be leveraging meetings through Teams and that where it makes sense, but we want to make sure we have a physical presence for folks that want to drop off applications or just want to have an in-face conversation with folks and they don't want to spend 45 minutes driving down to Belleville to do that. So one of the enhancements that we'll be looking at is establishing those satellite offices. And we'll actually be looking at starting that at the end of this month. We'll be actually looking at starting up the Madoc office. The other part to that as well, and I kind of hinted at it, is we will be hiring 2 new planners to help manage this workload. And they will be the folks that are in those satellite offices, but they'll help manage those files. And they'll also be available again, whether it's, they'll be available, sorry, to the public, but they'll also be available to municipal staff as well. So if you need something quick, you'll have folks closer to you if you need some information from them. So how are we looking at doing this? And this is part of what I'm talking about today. And what we're looking at is trying to create that streamlined approach through a service level agreement. And really what that agreement is doing is trying to make sure that we have clearly defined roles for the county and for the municipality so that we know exactly what as the county, what we're going to do for you in terms of providing that service. But also there are a few things that will need to be done by the municipality as well. So we're going to use this agreement to make sure that we know and have those roles clearly defined so that when something comes up, we know who's responsible for that and who needs to get that done. That's really important from, again, that public confidence point of view, that when they come to somebody, when they come to the municipality or the county, they know who they're speaking to and who they're going to go to. With that agreement as well, we want to make sure that, we're performing and providing that's the proper service for the municipality. So one of the things in the service level agreement is what we call Schedule A, which is a list of timelines, minimum timelines that we're agreeing to meet. So it's baked right into there that we will provide, we'll deem applications complete within a certain number of days. We'll make sure that public meetings are set within a certain amount of time, meeting all those requirements so that we know that, and so that you folks know and that we know that we're meeting the minimum standards that we're trying to provide to folks. And we'll review those annually. We'll provide that information to county council as well as to yourselves, and just to make sure that we're meeting those standards. And if we're not, then we need to, we'll make adjustments to make sure that we're going to meet that. The second part to that is, we always look at the minimum standards and what we need to do. I think we recognize we want to always be improving and doing better. So in addition to the minimum service levels, we do have targets as well that we're looking to meet, which are, I'll say, an enhanced version. So they are a little bit lofty goals that we're looking for, but I think as we always look to improvement, we always want to make sure we've got, we want to hold ourselves to the highest standard as we can, and we don't want to just sit back and try and meet the bare minimum. So we've established those targets as well to make sure that we have some higher goals to aim for as well. I think the only other piece to that too, as part of that agreement, we would be establishing a planning, no shoot, I forget the title now. Essentially, we'd be setting up a sorry, I'll look at it here for you. Planning service committee. So essentially, what we would be doing is every clerk from member municipalities that have joined the Spark program, together with myself and the CAO from the county, would have a committee that would meet at minimum of once a year. And the point being is trying to address any potential issues that come up as part of that process. As much as I'd like to think that we've nailed it and it's going to be perfect and there's going to be no kinks, we know there's going to be kinks in there and there's going to be things that come up that we didn't plan on. There may be some other things that come up where we need to address that. So rather than coming back to having to come back to council and try and change things, we've established this committee so that we have an avenue to address those issues collectively together. And as well, if there's an issue coming up, a common issue coming up for our municipality, again, we have a way to manage those things in a way that's efficient and practical so that we can get it sorted out quickly and bring things forward as well. So that is, I guess that's the long and short in a whirlwind. I think the one question I still haven't answered for you yet is, is what's the cost to the municipality to do this? And the short answer is it's not going to cost the municipality anything. We are looking at a model where we'd be collecting application fees. So, more like a user fee system. So the county would now be collecting a fee per application from the applicants to offset those costs to this enhanced service delivery. So the municipality itself, we wouldn't be adding it to the levy. We wouldn't be, we're not adding special fees or charges to municipalities. This is going to be done through a user pay system, similar to how you do things now with your application fees, and we do with our application fees. We'll be doing the same thing. Only the county will be collecting a fee specifically for ourselves to help offset those costs at the end of the day. We structured it such that it'll be a zero, there'll be a zero gain in terms of fees. It'll offset those costs. So I'm happy to answer any questions for folks that you may have.
Thanks, Justin. Any questions for Justin? Ron and then Eric?
Yeah, Justin, I heard you mention something about a satellite office opening in Madoc soon.
Yeah.
Did you say August?
It should be open. I hesitate a little bit. We're anticipating the first week of August, but that may be
So
delayed.
that's 5 days a week a planner will be there?
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how many municipalities do you have so far signed on?
So we have 6 formally signed on, and as I mentioned, we'll have 11 probably before the end of August.
So if you don't get them all, or if you have the capacity, if they all sign on, do you have enough capacity to look after them all?
Yes, we've planned that such that we will have capacity to maybe if all 14 sign on, we will have capacity to do that. And we planned it such that when we've done our, looked at our due diligence in terms of costing and those applications, we can also do it if we've got less. So we've looked at a very conservative approach to make sure that we can manage it with fewer municipalities, but as the process has moved along, we've been very successful with the program. So we'll have more than enough capacity to manage that.
Thank you.
Thanks. Eric?
Yeah, I have a question. In the report that you prepared in January, you outlined the agreement is for any agreement is for an initial 3-year term that will automatically renew. However, either party can terminate the agreement upon providing written notice a minimum of 6 months in advance. Can you clarify that our municipalities that join stuck to that 3-year term, that 6 month applies to in advance of the end of the 3-year term, or is that 6 months at any time?
So it's an initial 3-year term. And then following that, you would be able to get out it would be at any point with the 6 months notice.
Okay. You also note in that report additional planning services such as comprehensive zoning bylaw. Can you speak to that at all?
Sure. So I apologize. I should have spoke a little bit more to that. So there's a different level of services that we're suggesting. So we have our enhanced planning services, which is essentially looking after all your typical development applications files. So all the variances, those types of things. I think what you're referring to in terms of the comprehensive is the additional services, and that's the second level of requirements. So those are services that generally require a little bit more time and a little bit more, if I can call it, effort. such as a comprehensive zoning bylaw or development charge review, if that was something we're looking at as well. So those are services that we can provide, but we wouldn't provide them as a right. So if that was something the township wanted to do, say they wanted to do an updated comprehensive bylaw, I would work with your CAO and with you folks to make sure we can do that in a timely, in a proper time frame. So the challenge being, if I had 14 municipalities asking me to do a comprehensive bylaw, we can't do that. Or if you need to get that comprehensive bylaw done in 6 months, we wouldn't be able to do that. But if we can work on the proper timing of that and it fits and we can provide that service within the, I guess within our capacity, then we can do those things for you as well.
And how would cost apply to the municipality for a service like that?
Again, it would depend on how we would negotiate that. I would anticipate, generally speaking, if the county was going to do that comprehensive bylaw for you, and we were going to do that in-house, there wouldn't be a cost. That would be part of that service provided. However, if we did need to bring in some consultants or some specialty folks, we'd talk about that ahead of time. But there would be cost potentially there for the municipality to do that. But those would be things we discussed before we get down that road.
Okay. You've estimated the program roughly a $350,000 cost to execute between staff and locations. In terms of any deficit or surplus, let's say we go into recession, applications go down, the revenue isn't there, who's absorbing any deficit that's potentially, is that the county and that's going to end up on the levy, or how does that work?
Yeah, I mean, we've taken a lot of time to look at those costs and manage those types of things. So I don't anticipate there being a deficit necessarily. But as you say, I don't know I don't have a crystal ball. So in the event that we didn't get, say, the number of applications that we were anticipating to offset those costs, that would be down the county levy. And then it would be distributed out through to the municipalities at that point.
And then any excess revenue, since the fees collected would be from the municipalities that are participating in the Spark. If there's excess revenue, what happens with that excess revenue?
That'll stay at the county as well. I think part of what we'll look at though, we'll be reviewing those fees on I wouldn't say yearly basis, but on a probably 3-year term, we'll be looking at those things. So if we've looked at it and I think we're at the right mark for those costs, but if we're consistently seeing higher like for making money, so to speak, we could look at adjusting those as well. That would be something we would need to deal with through the county council, but we would review those things and look at those as well.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cindy. Jane?
So just to clarify, because some of it was hard to hear. So if there is a deficit in the program, at the end of the year, it gets absorbed by the member municipalities. Hastings, so that the county passes it on to the municipalities.
Will be part of your tax levy.
Okay, and then if there is a surplus, the county holds on to it and it does not distribute the surplus.
No.
Okay, and then so another question, just a little one. There's an office proposed for Madoc and one for Bancroft. Do they have certain jurisdictions that they would be serving, or are they open to anybody?
So anybody could come in. It wouldn't matter if they're in Bancroft and they want to come down. It would be open to the public.
Right. So if somebody has a property in Bancroft, but they live in Marmora, they can use the Bancroft. Okay.
Yep.
That's it.
Thank you. Mike?
I would assume if there's an excess of funds, then our levy from the county would go down that year. Well, total levy, I mean, because it's all one company, so I would assume that. That's what I'm assuming. But the other thing that I think we missed too is not only are we getting more applications, the Ford government is also putting more and more timelines on because we're supposed to build better faster. So the only way you can do things faster is either have more people or have somebody dedicated to do a job, which would be you people. And I like the idea that we're gonna give up some revenue because we won't get the fees any longer. But our constituents aren't gonna pay us a fee and you a fee to do things. So it's still only gonna be one fee from now on, which would go to the county, right?
That's right. Typically, right now, the county doesn't charge a fee, so they don't have two fees anyway, but to your point, yes, one is
Yeah,
better than
so-
two.
So it, in theory, it's a tip. So one off, so yeah, I like it. Thank you.
I just wanted to sort of summarize what I think. I've been involved at the as county councillor with some of the planning in this Spark program that Justin reports on quite regularly. And I just want to say that I think for one thing, across Hastings County, there'll be a consistency in application processing from a planning perspective, where before each municipality sort of had its own, I mean, we had to always adhere to the process, but we all had our own sort of way of processing it, I guess, and sometimes a lack of staff or not. And so I think that this will present some consistency. And, you know, with the legislation is changing almost on a daily basis or a weekly basis, especially like Mike mentioned, building houses like faster and to developers, time is money. And so I think, you know, this will be more efficient, and I think it'll be more well received by developers, like you said, for one-stop shopping. So, and we still retain the local component. We still have the decision-making. So I definitely support the program. So I just want to say thank you, Justin, for your presentation, and look forward to working with you going forward. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate your time today, guys. That's wonderful. Thank you.
Do we need a motion, Kristen? No? Thanks again, Justin. Yeah. So thank you again. Next is, the next delegation is Greg Magwood from Magwood's Martial Arts. And it's regarding the municipal facility rental fee waiver and reduction request policy. And it's exemption request. So welcome, Greg. Please have a seat and, yeah, there you go. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Greg Magwood. I've been teaching martial arts in the area, particularly in Marmora, for over 25 years. And I would like to thank you guys for the opportunity to speak tonight. From the presentation I gave, there's a lot more details. I'll just kind of do a summary.
Greg, can you just maybe pull the microphone down a little bit?
Down?
Yeah,
I'll come closer to.
yeah, we're having trouble hearing you.
Is that better? Okay. So I'm here tonight to talk about the subsidy program for the rental of the community hall. We have applied for and been accepted to the subsidy. Once I read the details on the subsidy, I realized there was a $1,500 annual cap that is applied on the 50% subsidy for the space available. And this subsidy was per provider, not per program. So I'm here tonight to ask specifically to consider that we would be accepted for a full 50% reduction with no cap, or a $1,500 cap per booking day, because we are offering 3 separate programs on 2 separate days. So unlike most providers who are doing a single program inside the space, I'm offering at least 3 programs on 2 separate days. The reason I'm asking about this is because our club currently, like I say, is operating 2 nights a week for the new year coming up. And that's a 10-month-a-year program that we offer. So even with the accepted subsidy that we've received, that will only actually cover 75 hours of the 220 that we're going to be renting the facility for. So with the $1,500 cap, that drops the effective subsidy from 50% down to 17% in terms of its reduction in the cost of renting the space. So this creates financial pressure for the club, and it's definitely going to head into increased participant fees. And with that increase in participant fees, with the nature of the finances of the area, that's going to probably reduce enrollment and possibly make the program have to either switch locations or withdraw from the community. As everybody knows here, many of the families in Marmora are already struggling financially and simply can't support their children in programming that becomes too expensive. And that's why the subsidy was created, to ensure affordability and access for all residents. So none of the outcomes of people having to leave the program due to the increase in the cost in the program is going to sort of align with what the subsidy was originally created to do. To sort of address some of the financial value to the township of having our program in there, even with a full 50% reduction, the club would still generate around $4,500 a year from our rental of the space 2 evenings a week. With the cap extended to $1,500 for each booking day, that would bring our contribution up to almost $6,000 a year. I've got a long-term plan for the club. I really like the space we're in. The community is really behind it. We have all sorts of people in it. And so, if we look at a 5-year projection, we're talking $22,000 to $28,000 over that period of time by having the club in there and offering us the full 50% or the cap on each booking date. We've been in there for about 3 years so far at about $3,800 a year for the last 3 years. So this kind of makes the program revenue generating, not a financial drain to the township. We're just talking about the level of that contribution to the township, not taking money away from the township. We're still paying into, not taking money away from. If the township was offered to try and offer this sort of multi-generational inclusive programming on its own, covering staffing, equipment, insurance, administration, it would be really expensive to bring this kind of programming into a small town like Marmora if the community itself was to offer it. So we serve all ages. Our programs start from 5. We have up to 13. We have teen and adult programs, and we also do programs for seniors with the Tai Chi. So we're hitting all the marks inside of keeping a community healthy and functioning, as well as the community that starts to build inside what we call the dojo itself. Our program's really inclusive. We have individuals participating with autism. We have Down syndrome. We have people with physical challenges inside the program. Our teen and youth leadership development is there for junior instructor roles. Many of those teenagers are using time in the younger programs to get their community hours for high school. So we're tying all that together for them and giving them a chance to work on leadership skills. We've got a huge parent involvement. Almost every night that I'm in there, there's at least 15 to 20 parents or more that just come just to watch the program and see what's going on and get involved. We had over 100 families attend our end of year belt presentations just in June. We had 70 chairs out and we had standing room only after a while. There really isn't a lot of programming, youth programming available in the area. None of it does what our program does or runs as long as our program runs. We're not gender specific. We're not age specific. We've got all those things struck. There's a lot of really good community values inside the club. And for small rural towns, having programming for the youth and programming for children and families, there's not a lot on offer. So we've got something that's unique in that way. And otherwise people would have to travel, at least to Belleville in order to do that. when we found out about the change in the costing, a lot of the parents were very, very concerned about the raising of costs to cover the extra costing. As everybody knows, there's a lot of families that, you know, even an extra $15 or $20 a kid every month, if you've got 2 or 3 kids coming into a program, that can be significant, and they'd have to withdraw from that. The club got really behind it, and in 6 days, I think you guys have the copies of it. We got over 250 signatures from the community saying, please let us use this space without having to increase the costs dramatically to do that. The people in that club really see it as a place for, you know, for wellness and connection and belonging, all those kind of things that come along with a good solid club. Martial arts traditions are a lot about respect and character building and all those kind of things. So we develop a lot of that inside the class. It's also very progressive because I can take a child from 5 years old and they can put their eye on a black belt when they're 16 and continue. I've got parents and kids who are working, teens and parents now in the same classes working together. It's kind of interesting and different than a lot of other social gatherings, and fitness clubs and things like that don't have that kind of multi-generational connection to them. So I won't keep you too long. Like I say, we're not looking for a handout. We're just looking for a structure that reflects the depth and consistency and value of what we offer. This is a chance to align the policy that you've already created with its true intention, which is sustaining community programming that works and is affordable for all. So I'd like to thank you for your time, and I'm happy to answer any questions if you have any questions about the program.
Thanks, Greg. Jane?
Wonderful presentation. So you mentioned that there are 3 programs. How are the 3 programs separate and defined from each other?
There is a program we call the Little Dragons.
Sorry, Little Dragons?
Little Dragons is from 5 to 7 years old.
I'm writing this down. Okay.
Then we have our children's and youth program that goes from 7 until 13.
That's sorry, children and youth?
Yeah. There's actually 4 programs. There is also the teen and adult program. So that's 13 and up. And then we have our Tai Chi and Qigong program, which is mostly occupied by by seniors that are coming out for mobility and for strength and independence.
Okay, so with your presentation, your one of your suggestions is we look at the cap not at you as one entity, rather 3 entities. So you want the 1,500 applied to each program.
That's one of the considerations. The other consideration is to just do it by booking day. I'm in there 2 days a week, and we could consider doing the cap for each of those 2 days, or we can look at it as 3 individual programs with the children's programming, the teen programming, and the senior programming. Or
and final question: are each of the programs equally popular to each? Are they all just as equally popular?
The biggest program is the children's and youth. The Little Dragons is something I just started last year because I had a lot of parents saying they wanted younger children in. And so I developed a program for the younger children so that they had somewhere to develop without having to keep up with the 10 to 13-year-olds. And that was surprisingly really, there was a lot of reception to that. So I was only running that once a week last year. I'm hoping to do that on both days this year because of the interest that was doing that. We were in 3 days a week last year, but I know that there was other groups that were hoping to get time and space in there. So I backed out of the Tuesdays, and I'm trying to adjust everything to the Mondays and the Wednesdays. The smallest program is going to be the Tai Chi program. But we still had a good turnout for that. But it doesn't compare to what a kids program is. Lots of kids come out and get involved in karate more than anything else.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Greg? Mike? Microphone, Mike.
Greg could hear me. How many children would you have in each program, Greg?
I believe the Little Dragons was running between 16 to 18 at its max.
Okay.
The children's and youth split over the 2 days a week that it was running. At our peak, we were close to 35, 40 or more in
For the
that,
older kids?
for the older kids.
Yeah.
And then the teens and the adults are around 15 or so to 18, depending. You know, everybody comes out to train for a while, but not everybody stays for a long time. And then
Yeah.
the Tai Chi program was about, I think we were running about 8 to 10 in there, down to about 4 by the end of the season.
What does an average yearly fee cost? Is it by the kid, by the family? Do you have like family programs?
I do family rates. So depending on how many are in the family, I reduce things and keep things cost appropriate. That's why I always try to find places where the overhead is not, if we're looking a little bit at it, if I'm working with just the $1,500 cap for next year, it's about $730 a month. It averages out to rent for the 2 nights a week.
$130
$730 a month
per rental or
per rental.
per rent?
Yeah, so that's with the $1,500 cap included. It would still be 730, which would be at the average rate of my clients, that would take up over a third of my clients, just towards the rental of or more towards the rental of the space.
Any other questions? Eric?
Thank you for coming to present. From the community, I've only heard good things about your program and everyone really enjoys it. It's hard as a council. We're in a really hard spot when it comes to user fees. The municipality put together a public survey to go out to residents here who pay taxes and pay the bills to keep the municipality running. And they overwhelmingly came back and said they weren't necessarily willing to subsidize programs in our facilities. So the user fee subsidy policy was kind of a direct response to the segment of the population that did want to support programming and ensure that it happened and allow that subsidy to be there. This is only the first year that policy has existed. So I'm glad that you qualified because it does fit directly into the goals of what that policy is, to bring activities, especially fitness related ones, into the community for youth. But we're in a really hard spot at what you're asking for at 220 hours for $4,400 is what you're saying the revenue would be. That works out to only $20 an hour.
That would be with the full, those numbers are with the full 50%.
With the full 50%. So although, yes, I appreciate that's revenue for the municipality, like that for us doesn't even cover costs of running the facility. So that's a loss. We're not even breaking even with what it costs us to run. So it's in a hard spot to make a decision on something like this.
So just as an aside to that, the subsidy from the school boards brings the costing for youth programming to about $25 an hour. So that's why, I was saying to me, it feels like the $1,500 cap per booking day makes more sense. If I was an individual who was booking on Tuesdays and then another individual who booked on Thursdays, both of those programs would be available for the $1,500 cap. Whereas I'm booking on 2 separate days and running up to 4 different programs. And that's why I was thinking that it would be appropriate to do the $1,500 cap per booking day, as opposed to per all of the programming I'm offering, because, if somebody's offering an hour and a half a week, they are paying you $20 an hour to be in there if they subsidize. As soon as you go over the $2 hour a week rental, that's when you start using up the subsidy and no longer getting that subsidy. So any programs that come in and rent for 2 hours that fit the bill like we do, they will be paying the $20 an hour.
Yeah.
It's just that I happen to
So
provide
would
a
you,
bunch of
but
programming.
your hours are gonna access
But
the sweet spot. You would be paying 20 an hour with the subsidy as well if you don't average it out, but your hours exceed what a common user might. And
Yeah,
for
I'm doing-
clarification for the public, why you're falling into that $1,500 category is because you are a private business. So this is a specific category that exists within the policy so that a private business that is going to provide a program to the community, this is an incentive for them to do that. So that's why you're, as of right now, falling into that window.
Yeah, and I understand that if I was offering a program, but I am offering
Multiple.
3 programs on multiple days. That's the
Yeah,
configuration I'm
Yeah,
looking for.
understood. Thank you.
And speaking to your surveys, I think also the 250 people that signed that petition within a 6-day window, because we thought we were coming here immediately, that within 6 days, 250 people said that they were okay with that in a community this size. I think that also represents that people are willing to consider that this is a larger program than a single user who is only in for a short period of time.
Thanks, Jane. I think you had your hand up.
I forgot what I was going to say, but, can I respect everything that Council Dow has said about the bylaws and that. However, I'm having a really hard time with this one. Can I make a motion? Like, or it's a suggestion? No, I can't.
This is for information only.
Oh, it's only for
Maybe-
information. Oh, okay, okay. All right. Thank you.
Go,
Oh, I can make a motion?
Couldn't make motions on this.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would like to make a motion that the Marmora Martial Arts Club's program is recognized as 2 programs, a Tuesday and a Thursday. And each program qualifies for the $1,500 cap.
can I get a seconder for that motion? One more time, can I get a seconder? That motion's failed. So Mike,
I would just like more time to think about this. I don't want to make a decision tonight, like. The other thing I'm looking at here, you've got approximately 80 people a week coming in. And you were talking about $700 a month difference, I guess. I mean, I thought that's what it was. If we raise the rates, that's less than $10 a month. If you got that money off of them, that's less than $10 a month they'd be paying. That's like 2 Starbucks coffees. I understand what you're saying, but also you're running a business where you think you need X number of dollars coming in to pay for your rentals and pay for your time and the whole thing. We're also in a business. We have to, we have to pay people to be there. We have to pay for lights. We have to pay for hydro and all that too on the other side, so, I'm not sure. So I want to think about this more because you are running a business, you are making money out of it, else you wouldn't be, unless you're, to do that, you gotta be thinking of the kids anyways, because most people wouldn't do it. I've been involved with scouts and kids before, and, it's a lot of time, it's a lot of dedication. So I praise you for that. But I want to think about it because we do have costs, as Eric explained, that we got to pay. And we got to answer to the whole municipality and the whole township. And, I don't know. I just need more time to think about it.
thanks, Mike. Ron and then Eric.
Greg, could you tell me how much more you're gonna have to raise your fee if the fee bylaw applies? Have you figured that part out?
With the $1,500 cap in place,
Well, no,
Um,
what we're.
what's on
Yeah.
offer now? Yeah, it's gonna be about $10 to $15 a head more to end up.
Per
with it.
session,
No, per month,
per month, so $10 more per month.
per student. So if you've got a family of 2 or 3, you're talking about another 30 to, it's 15 would be about the minimum for me not to start.
And you meet once a week,
We meet, well, many of those children's come out twice a week.
twice a week,
Um,
twice a week.
when I do twice a week with the children, they're not paying twice the fees. It's only
I
a
just-
small fee extra, but they're coming out twice a week. So I'm covering that rental, even though I'm not getting twice the income from that person. As well as soon as there's more than one member in the family, I start reducing the rates from there. And I'm able to do all of that because of having affordable rental rates.
So,
Um,
so I just want to be clear.
Yep.
So one student, we'll call them that. $10 extra a month and they come 4 times.
No, so it would be about 15 to a month for once a week to cover the extra rental from where we are now, if I maintain a similar level of students that I have. So 15 for a single person, if you're talking about a family of 3 or 4, you're talking, 45, up to $60 a month extra for them. Realistically, I kind of almost need to do 20 to continue at that level. But I try to make things affordable, so I'm going to try to keep it to 15 if we can't do the cap. If we can do the 15, the twice a week, like look at each booking as a separate subsidy, kind of like what would happen if Girl Guides were in one day and Scouts were in another. They would both be at that $20 range. I'll still be much over that 20 range. I'll still be closer to the 30, almost $35 an hour range, even with the double subsidy. So that's what I was hoping to accomplish, was to try to keep that down. I know it doesn't sound like much when you're saying $10 a month, but there's a lot of families that I work with that when they've got 3 kids and it's an extra $60 a month, that's going to be the tripping point of whether that family continues to train. If that family doesn't continue to train, it's sort of this snowball. Then
Yeah.
I can't generate the funds to generate the funds because they're already kind of, there's lots of families that I do deals for and stuff like that, just to give them the opportunity to be in there.
So can you, this Tai Chi thing, I don't know anything about that. Is that for seen, like?
It's
older
mostly,
people?
it's mostly seniors that participate in the
So
Tai
it's
Chi.
like exercise or
It's
what?
really, yeah, it's one of the best, if you talk to anybody in physical therapy and stuff like that, it's one of the best things for keeping strength, balance, and mobility and core strength,
Yeah.
particularly as people age. So it's a lot of people who come to it who are looking for a way, well, again, fixed income because seniors, but they're also looking for a way to maintain their autonomy. People who couldn't go up and down stairs,
Yeah.
have hard times getting in and out of chairs. A lot of that stuff we address inside of that program.
So it's a large program, large, like how many people do you get for that?
That one is not that large. We were only running at about, and that's why it's kind of on the line. I only had about 4 or 5 people at the end of the season last year. We started with about 8 or 9. It was newish to the program. So, if I've only got 5 or 6 people in there, they're basically covering the rent, but not my instruction fees.
I gotta say, I'm on the same line as my kids. I want to think about it. Your presentation is what has encouraged me. It was a good presentation, but there's a lot of things we have to consider, so I'd like some time if that's possible.
Thanks. Eric?
Yeah, just really quick. So like I'm out kind of the same mind here to really understand what the numbers would look like. So if you were granted an additional subsidy, would you still maintain 2 days a week or you would go back to 3 days?
My plan this year is to do the 2 days a week because I knew that there was another program that wanted the potential to be in that space. And I felt like if I was in there 3 days a week, I was monopolizing the space.
Okay.
I'm just trying to, because I'm not sure how much, but $15 per person is that's like $1,200 extra a month. Is that? That's what I'm saying. And there's 80 people, 80 kids.
There's not
So
80, there's not 80 kids.
Well,
There's-
you said there's 16 to 18 and the little kids, 35 to 40 and the 7 to 15 and 15 and the 13 plus. To me, that adds up to 66 to 80 some people.
Yeah, my average, because it does this over the year, depending on when, has been for the last couple of years, about
Right,
60,
but
60
so-
people.
But how much an hour? What's your weekly rental fee then if you were to pay everything? The 45, you tossed out $4,500. I can't,
So
I got too many numbers.
No
going
problem.
here.
when I looked at the 220, I was doing it as an annual as opposed to a monthly when I was doing the totals. So with the full subsidy, we'd be looking at about $4,400 or $4,500 a year, so about $400 and $450 a month for the rental of the space. If we do the cap for each programming day, we're talking about just under 6,000 a year. So just
So
under
6,000 minus
600,
1,500, so
just
it's
under 6.
4,500.
No, the first one, if it was the full 50%, like if there was no subsidy cap, it would still bring in $4,500 a year. With the
Oh, so
two,
that's at 50%.
that's at 50%. With the two subsidies, one for each day, we're talking just under 6,000 a year. With the 1,500 cap that you're offering right now, we're talking about $7,400 a year. So
That's
about,
what you would pay.
that's what I'd be paying, and that's before any taxes or anything.
Okay, but if you put up $15, that's roughly $1,000 a month extra. That's doesn't compute.
The reason I'm doing
That
that
would
is
pay for everything.
the reason I'm doing that is because the 38, what we were paying was under 4,000 for the last 3 years. So to me, I was trying to make the difference between under 4,000 to over 7,000.
Right, but if you said it would be $10 to $15 a person to cover it, well, that's my calculation is your $15 a person would pay for the whole year. You wouldn't pay any rent. You'd recoup it with the $15 a person increase.
I think, we've kind of gone around this. I think the feeling I'm getting is we need more time to think about this and circle back to making a decision. But thank you very much for a good presentation. I did attend your open house that evening and I was very impressed by the programs that
Thank you.
you offered. So thank you for doing that in our community.
You're
So,
welcome. Thank you.
Thanks, Greg. Go ahead, John.
So if I may, through your mayor to the rest of the council, and again, presentation, thank you very much. If council's not going to make a decision now, I think there should be a motion to direct staff to bring this back at a future meeting so that this discussion can happen.
Yeah.
But again, with the benefit of the analysis, the financials and sort of scenarios around what was not only presented by the delegation, but also in terms of some of the questions that council may have, and also some of the other things that fed into the user fee bylaw. The amendments are in its current formation because of things like bonusing and other things that were certainly things of concern. So if someone can make a motion to direct staff to bring this back with that more fulsome financial analysis and a summary, and a recommendation, then that's something I'd look for.
Someone prepared to make that motion? Jane? Second, Mike? Anyone else? All in favor then?
I can ask a question. Do we need a timeline? Yes.
Absolutely. So through you, Chair, to Councillor Lakatos. Yes, I think the idea is the time frame is September, if I win.
Yes, I would hopefully like to know as soon as possible because I'll have to put out my pricing for the season, usually sort of first part of August to middle of August. I've put out my information and I'll need to know where I'm adjusting that to. If I could put in just one more thing. So to address what you were talking about, the reason for the increases, we're talking about a $3,500 a year change in cost from my overhead from the last 3 years to what it would be next year, even having received the subsidy. So yes, there's a $3,500 chunk of overhead that needs to be found. And like you said, if that's $15 a head, I understand it doesn't feel like much when you're in a position where it doesn't feel like much.
So,
The last thing. if
I think
can-
we've got a motion on the floor.
Sorry, guys.
yeah.
Process.
And we voted on it and it,
so through you, Chair, just to add to that, if it can be a friendly amendment, is that it has to be, obviously, we only have one meeting in August, so that by August 5th. So you would want a report from staff on this to be presented at the August 5th council meeting.
does that make sense? Time wise for
think that-
staff?
The only timeline that we have, so it
Okay.
has to make sense.
Okay, thank you. So we'll amend that. Is you okay with the mover and the seconder to amend that? Jane?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
okay. So all in favor of the amended motion? Okay, thank you. Thank you again, Greg.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Next on the agenda is public input. Is there anyone here for public input? No? Okay. Thank you. So we move on to the adoption of the minutes of the regular meeting, the minutes of the regular meeting of council of the municipality of Marmon Lake for Tuesday, June 17th, 2025 be approved as presented. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Mike and Ron? Any discussion on those minutes? All in favor? That's carried. Staff reports. The quarterly staff reports for 2020 quarter two, second quarter for 2025. So it's the administration report, the bylaw report, economic development report, environmental report, parks and recreation facilities report, transportation report, and treasurer's report. So to put those on the books for discussion, can I have a mover and a seconder that the reports for the second quarter of 2025 be received for information? Ron? And Jane, any discussion on those, any of those reports? Or any questions? Go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, I had questions, but I think I phoned everybody and asked them today. But one thing on the water and sewers, she's doing, or Victor set it up and Kyle is continuing on with it. It's a acoustic screening that they do now. It's they can inspect the water pipes and the sewer pipes using this acoustic device. Anyways, they have to hire a company, and it tells them where blockages are and any weak points and all that. So it should be a good screening tool going forward. The track loader is coming. It's supposed to be here this fall. Right now, we're making do without it. The only question I had was there a maintenance contract with the track loader? So I think Kayla was going to get a hold of John or Nancy. Anyways, we'll go with that. Jeff's report was excellent. We hire 6 people like him. I can leave. Nancy, everybody does a great job, but yeah. It would take me longer to write that out than it would be to work it. Nancy does a great job. That was coming through too. And I assume, Dylan, there was a thing in there under traffic lights. It was way up, but I believe that's the stoplight at Highway 7 and 14. I figured that one out myself. And I know that Nancy's working on a grant for us. Is that coming up in a separate report too, Nancy? Yeah,
Through the chair to Counselor
you don't have to answer.
Stevens. Yes, so there's another report,
Okay. Right.
yes, in the agenda.
And that's about it. I thought it
Mike?
was excellent one.
Thanks,
Or
Mike. Jane?
quarter. Right.
I have a question on the arena report, not about the money. We applied for a grant some time ago. What happened with that? Is it still going for, oh, Nancy?
We did hear news that we received the grant, but we're unable to utilize it, unfortunately. Because the grant was specific to the chiller replacement. And we're not allowed to deviate from that. And we have insurance covering the chiller. It took too long to come through. I have spoken with the lady that looks after the grants, and she was very understanding, and she said this would not hurt any future grants that we apply for. They had a lot of municipalities having to turn down the grant money because too much time had gone by and a lot of prices had increased, so they were unable to meet the requirements in the grant. So unfortunately, it was hard to turn down, but we didn't have any choice.
Thanks, Nancy. John?
Through your chair to Councillor Lakidos, one of the things that was feedback is a shame that it didn't work in terms of timing. Obviously, provincial elections and other things, other events overtook that. Notwithstanding some of the feedback, and I don't want this to be lost, is that the short window of time that the work that was done by key staff internally and also with some other help within the organization was applauded for its thoroughness and its completeness and its I guess the excellence in terms of that. So that will serve as a template in terms of the type of future grants and the idea that there will be future opportunities. I just didn't want that lost in the slight disappointment that, again, timing being what it may, at least the chiller is repaired, which is great. But the funding opportunity, we hope to be able to sort of take a rain check on this one.
Thank you, John. Eric, did you?
Well, sorry, just two things on that. I guess first to John, I would also echo that regards to the participation of the public. Staff did a great job putting it together at the last minute, certainly, but the public also stepped up when the call was there. So I think now that information is out there, it's definitely good that they're aware that their efforts made a difference. Second question, I guess, through the chair to Nancy. Was there any possibility to repurpose that grant for other needed repairs for the arena? Was that conversation had?
Yes, I did have that conversation. There was no way to amend that grant, but it was implied that there will be more funding hopefully soon coming out, and we had the basis for the information. We would just have to, change what it is we wanted to do at the arena, if that's what we decided we were applying for. But yeah, so unfortunately, we couldn't amend that grant.
Thanks, Mike.
The way I understood it, they weren't going to give us the money twice. The insurance was paying for the chiller, and they weren't going to cover it with grant money at the same time. So that was part of the problem. And we couldn't repurpose it for other things because the grant had already gone in to replace the chiller. So, it didn't cost us money either way. We didn't get the grant money, but we got the insurance money. So.
Thanks, Mike. Any other comments? Ron?
Just a question, and maybe I can't get it answered. Had quite a few inquiries about the grass mowing, and I don't know if it's on the horizon or I don't know if anybody can answer that.
I'm sorry, if you don't mind repeating that, Councillor?
The grass mowing along the road, I've had quite a few inquiries about it because it's about that high rate now, and I haven't seen it done yet. I just wondered if it's in planned or they're contracted or.
So through your chair to Councillor Derry, I believe it's contracted. It's something that's coming forward, and just because of in terms of timing, it will happen. And certainly I've seen a number of the social media posts that have been indicating there were some concerns about specific roads and doing that. And that's something I've had discussion with the manager of transportation.
The biggest problem I'm hearing, and I noticed myself, is the grass is so high along the road, with deer around the road before you know it. Because they come through the long grass. That's the biggest, one of the biggest problems I see, because they're on the road and at night they come out of that grass and you're on top of them. So I just hope that we can get that.
Sure.
So.
And through your chair to Councillor Derry, there'll be an opportunity. The manager for transportation will be here for another item later on and absolutely emphasize that, but he is aware, but notwithstanding, we'll make sure of that.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Eric?
Just to address that story through the chair, because I spoke to Councillor Derry. I spoke to Transportation Department today. They said roadside mowing starts later this week. They're coming in to do it. Expect about a 2-week turnaround to get all the roads done. So
Good, thank you.
Thanks for that clarification, Eric. Ron or Mike?
I'm glad Ron brought that up because it's the same up our way. It's up there and what? The other thing is the other two municipalities that abut us, oh, they're just started mowing this week. Like last Friday or so. A lot of them are letting it go longer now. A lot of people complain if you cut it, my wife, one of them, if you cut it down too soon, then all the flowers are gone and the butterflies and the bees and they don't have it. And no, she's serious because a lot of those insects and that are good insects depend on that for food and everything at this time of year. And a lot of it only grows along the roadside because it's the only place to get sunshine, at least up our way, it's the only place to get sunshine. So,
Okay, thank you. Dylan will be on a call, I believe, later if you wanted to. That probably would be the better place to, for us to debate this. Anyway, any further comments? Eric?
Sorry, just to get back to the staff reports, we're a little off topic there. Just wanted to highlight a couple things. The new sign at the Marmora Mine site that the Economic Development Department and Economic Development Advisory Committee got going. That's in its final stages and should be up hopefully later this week as well. There will be a formal unveiling of that sign, and I'm sure we'll post something on social media. I just wanted to give a thank you and kudos to Jeff and the Parks and Rec team. They're doing such an amazing job this year. I'm hearing so much good feedback out there. If you take time to go through a staff report, you can see the detail at which that team is working out there, painting things, really paying attention to the small details, and it shows. So thank you for Jeff and his leadership and that whole team for their hard work.
Thank you. Anything further? So all in favor? That's carried. Next, Kristen's report on the cemetery restoration work. And the recommendation is the council accept this Marmor Common Cemetery Restoration Work Report dated July 15th, 2025. And further that council approve the use of $4,000 from the cemetery reserve and $5,000 from the general reserve for the restoration of 3 monuments in Marmor Common Cemetery in the 2025 season. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Eric and Ron, any discussion on that report or that recommendation? Being none, all in favor? That's carried. Thank you, Kristen. You did a great job on that report. Next is the Ashley's report regarding 357 1178 DeLaurel Road, 357 requests. The recommendation is the council receive this request for reduction of taxes, Chapter 25, Section 357 of the Municipal Act 2001 for 1178 DeLaurel Road report dated July 15th, 2025. And further that council approve the request of Judith Dwyer for a reduction of taxes for the year 2025 in the amount of $1,522.82 for 1178 DeLaurel Road as per section 357 of the Municipal Act. And I have a mover and a seconder. Mike and Jane, any questions or comments? All in favor? That's carried. Tammy May, Community and Economic Development Officer, Hydro One Ice Storm 2025 Recovery Grant. And the recommendation is the council receive this Hydro One Ice Storm 2025 Recovery Grant Report dated July 15th, 2025 for information. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Eric and Jane, any discussion on that report? Eric?
I'm just glad to see that we are applying for grants like this and taking advantage of the available funding. It paid off here.
And I understand that this was really sort of pointed at cleaning up Booster Park was what the purpose of the grant was. So thank you to everyone involved. Can I all in favor? That's carried. Nancy's report regarding the municipal ice storm assistance, and the recommendation is whereas the corporation of the municipality of Marmor Lake recently experienced a severe ice storm from March 28th to March 30th, 2025, and has experienced incremental operating and capital costs far exceeding the 2025 budget. The council of the corporation of the municipality of Marmor Lake hereby requests that the Minister of Municipal Affairs and Housing activate the Municipal Ice Storm Assistant Program. And further, that the municipal treasurer Nancy Sinclair be given delegated authority to verify and attest to the accuracy of the attached claim. And I have a mover and a seconder, Mike. Second, Ron. Any questions or discussions? All I can say is if you look at the pictures that are in this agenda, and I encourage the public to have a look at what our municipality was dealing with. And I believe that the costs are anywhere from about 250,000 up to about 300,000. And I think this is really important. And, you know, I think we have to thank staff, Dylan's transportation crew for the cleanups and for keeping our roads safe in the process of dealing with these severe ice storms. But we did have a huge cost involved in doing that. So can I have mover and a seconder? Did I get that all? Okay. Did I get that already? Okay, so any further comments or questions? All in favor? That's carried. John's report, model of land use planning services. And the recommendation is that council receive the model of land use planning services, Marmor Lake report dated July 15th, 2025. And further, that council direct staff to opt in to Hastings County streamlined planning approach and resource centralization program, enter into a planning service agreement with Hastings County for all planning services for the municipality of Marmor Lake, and to bring this agreement back to council for final approval. Can I have a mover? Ron, second, Mike. Any further discussion on that report? Jane?
Just so I clarify, this is, this has nothing to do with the report.
Yeah, that
Oh,
is.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. All right, thank you.
Okay, all in favor? That's carried. Next, John's report regarding fire services agreement between Limerick and Marmor Lake. And the recommendation is the council accept this fire services agreement between the township of Limerick and the municipality of Marmor Lake report dated July 15th, 2025. And further, that bylaw 2025-47 being a bylaw to authorize an agreement between the corporation of the township of Limerick and the corporation of the municipality of Marmor Lake for fire protection services be recommended for council adoption. And I have a mover and a seconder. Mike? Second, Ron? Any discussion on that report? Go ahead, Barry.
Just a question through the chair. Not sure who can answer this. Looking at kind of the on-call fees and the hourly minimum, the fire ban sign, who takes care of the fire ban sign up there?
So through your chair to Councillor Dow, that is done by the Limerick Fire Department in terms of in consultation with Marmor. So in terms of taking care of that, that's all part of the agreement between the two municipalities. This is an agreement that's been in place for a number of years. Yeah. But this now brings it up to speed and actually something that will be acted upon when perhaps it wasn't as well acted upon before.
Anything further? All in favor? That's carried. Next, CAO status update for July 2025. Recommendation is the council receive this CAO status update for July 2025 report dated July 15th, 2025 for information. And I have a mover and a seconder. Jane, second. Ron, any comments or questions? Jane?
I have a question. Being that we've been discussing the Lions agreement a lot, I don't see it on here as something being carried forward. Where are we with that?
Go ahead, John.
Through your chair to Councillor Lakatos, great question. I did get in contact with Cynthia this earlier on today in terms of seeing where it is. We have, as council had provided its response with respect to that, they've given it to Lions. They are looking for legal counsel in terms of running it through their lawyers. At first, it was they had approached one legal firm, and about 3-4 days later, we found that that firm was found in a conflict of interest based on either doing business with either the council or the municipality. They switched to Miskin Law in Peterborough. My understanding is they'll have something but early part of next week, so it'll be ready to come forward August 5th. So I do apologize delay. I think part of the complication there was switching law firms, as Cynthia's has indicated. But on top of that, when you have summertime and some of the vacation, of staggering that. But notwithstanding, I've been given assurances they'll bring that back to us early next week with the hope of bringing it to the 5th of August.
Thank you. Anything further? All in favor? That's carried. Committee and board reports, Marmora Common Cemetery Board, and it's the minutes of March the 28th, 2024. And the Public Library, Marmora Lake Public Library Board, the minutes of May 16th, 2025. Recommendation is that the foregoing minutes and reports of the committees and boards listed are hereby received for information. Can I have a mover and a seconder, please? Mike, second. Ron, any discussion on those minutes? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Correspondence for direction, Central Hastings Support Network, the minutes of April 15th and May 20th, 2025. And the recommendation is the council receive the minutes for information. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Mike and Jane, any questions or comments? I would just like to comment, I have a meeting there tomorrow morning with the Central Hastings Support Network. All in favor? That's carried. Crow Valley Conservation Authority, their municipal brief, and the recommendation is the council receive the brief for information. And I have a mover and a seconder. Ron, second. Eric, any comments? I think everybody's aware that Tim Pettick, the manager, has retired. All in favor? That's carried. Hastings County Council report from June the 26th, 2025. And the recommendation is that council receive the report for information. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Mike and Eric, any comments? Eric?
Just if the public's interested at all in investment and industry that the county is working on, within that newsletter, there's a link to investment attraction plan that the county produces. It's got a lot of data in it. So when you think this is a business or an industry that may work in this area, if you're interested in reading about that at all, there's a lot of background that justifies what industries have best potential here.
Thanks, Eric. Mike?
I'd just like to say, since I started putting this out, there's a lot of good information there that impacts us here in our municipality that comes through that you would never really know about unless you got the report. There's things like grants and that are coming up, and information that you can deal with down there, get more information from them. Things that are happening with at the manor here and with the income Phil Spry out in Laurel. There's lots of information in there that's really good, and it's better than it ever has been in the past. I just like it.
Thank you. We pay a levy to the Hastings County. So we need, it's good that we can see that we're getting some benefit from that. I think we always were, but I just don't think it was communicated. This is a manner of us getting a regular report on how we can justify the levy they charge us. So anyway, all in favor? That's carried. Bylaws, bylaw number 2025-45, interim. I don't have 11.4 on my page. Oh, okay. How come I don't have that on my page? Anyway, sorry, Marmora Agricultural Society board members, declaration of municipal significance request. The recommendation is that council declare the Marmora Agricultural Society's 135th annual fair taking place from August the 1st to the 3rd, 2025 at the Marmora Fairgrounds located at 28 Victoria Street, Marmora, of municipal significance as per the IAGCO, thus permitting them to acquire a special liquor license for the event. Can I have a mover and a seconder? Mike and Eric, any discussion? All in favor? That's carried. I guess I picked up the original agenda and I didn't get the last one. Anyway, thanks, Eric. So on to bylaws. Bylaw number 2025-45, interim municipal fire chief appointment bylaw. Being a bylaw, excuse me, a bylaw to appoint an interim fire chief for the corporation of the municipality of Marmora and Lake. Can I get a mover and a seconder, please? Ron, second, Jane. Any discussion on that bylaw? All in favor? That's carried. Bylaw number 2025-47, Limerick Fire Services Agreement, being a bylaw to authorize an agreement between the corporation of the Township of Limerick and the corporation of the municipality of Marmora and Lake for fire protection services. Can I have a mover and a seconder, Mike? Second. Jane, any discussion on that bylaw? All in favor? That's carried. Any notice of motion? There are no notice of motions. Any announcements? Go ahead, Eric.
Just a couple quick upcoming events. The Marmora Fair, as we just heard about, is coming up August 1st to 3rd. The community favorite demolition derby is on the Saturday night. Also on that same Saturday night, August 2nd, the Crow Lake Waterway Association has their lighted boat parade and fireworks on the lake. The fireworks are provided by the Waterway Association and they start at dusk. If you're from town and you'd like to watch, Booster Park Beach is a great location to watch the show from. I'd also like to remind and encourage the community to participate on Saturday, August 16th. There's two community members, Sue Keach and Judy Cox, organizing a Marmora Community Day sale. You can search that up on Facebook and they have a page. It's open to anyone with that wants to do a yard sale or garage sale or that has a business. They are really well organized. They have a map of all the different locations participating, and that's on August 16th. Pickleball is off to a great start at the arena. There's been a few days. Last Thursday, we had almost 40 residents out playing, ranging in age from 12 years old to 84 years old. All 6 courts on the arena floor were being used and people were waiting to get on to play. It's an incredibly inclusive sport, open to anyone, as you can see by that age range of players. If you want to come out and try, you are welcome to do so. There's 2 sessions a week, one Thursday evening from 6 till 8 and Tuesdays from 10 a.m. till 12. Paddles, balls, and coaching are all provided by program volunteers. So all you need to do is show up with comfortable shoes and a bottle of water, and the volunteers, if you've never played before, the volunteers will get you going. If you have played before, there's lots of experienced players to give you a really competitive game. So thank you to Parks and Rec for starting this program this year.
Thanks, Eric. I just have one. I received an email regarding the St. Mary's Refuge. And I'll just read it here because it's, I think, something that seniors would benefit from. So it says, "Good morning, Mayor O'Neill. I'm writing from St. Mary's Refuge to let you know of the first of our 4 seniors' days at the refuge. On August the 9th, we hope to welcome any seniors in the area who might like a day away to enjoy the beauty of the county, a luncheon from our large organic garden, fellowship, and perhaps a time to consult with our finance or IT expert, have a hair trim, foot care, or nails buffed and painted. We hope to show welcome and care for all, and if you would be willing to help us spread the word in Marmora, we would be grateful for your help. We're also planning on hiring a bus for transport, as we have discovered that this can often prohibit those who are most in need of companionship. I'm waiting on a poster about our day to circulate to others, and I would be happy to forward a copy to you." So the number for the St. Mary's of Egypt Refuge, and it says available for voicemail, So I'll just read it out for the public if people are listening. 613-473-2679. That's 613-473-2679. Thank you. So now we're going to proceed into the closed session. That council proceed into a closed meeting session under the Municipal Act, Section 239-2B. Personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees, and read personnel committee minutes. C, a proposed or pending acquisition or disposition of land by the municipality or local board, and it's regarding the industrial land. B, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. K, a position, plan, procedure, criteria, or instruction to be applied. Which one do I have to add? Oh, you want me to start again then? All right. So, okay, a position plan, procedure, criteria, instruction be applied to any negotiations carried on or to be carried on by or on behalf of the municipality or local board. Fire department succession plan. B, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees regarding organizational review. And the first one, John,
Yes.
which is B, personal matters about an identifiable individual, including municipal or local board employees. So can I have a mover and a second? Labor relations. D, labor relations or employee negotiations, department update. Did I get them all? Okay. Can I get a mover and a seconder? Jane, second. Eric? All in favor? That's carried. Huh?